The FNRad Snowboard podcast is presented by Vans. Before we get to the show, I just want to say the listeners of this podcast are amazing. We've already sold nearly 150 raffle tickets, so with Vans matching the first $2,000 we raise, that's nearly $3,000 going to stoke.org, a nonprofit that teaches mentoring and leadership skills to underserved youth through skateboarding, snowboarding, and surfing in cities across the United States. The list of prizes is getting longer: a wired snowboard, a hoodie from Tribute, a $200 gift certificate from the Boardroom, a Crow's Nest Barbershop prize pack including haircuts and products, a signed Chris Duffy photo print from Brad Hepner, some goodies from Dakine, something amazing from Anon Optics, and just yesterday, legendary snowboarding photographer Daniel Pendergrass made plans with Russell to do up a signed print of the iconic rail shot that Russell was talking about in the Salema episode of the Plug podcasts. All right, guys, tickets are $10. There's no limit on how many you can buy, and 100% of the money raised goes to Stoked. And again, Vans is matching the first $2,000. So send an e-transfer or a PayPal payment to fnradpodcast@hotmail.com. And now here's Russell Winfield's 5th episode of the Plug podcast with Gabby Maiden. Let's listen together.
What's up, people? This is Russell Winfield. Welcome to episode 5 of The Plug. This week, I had the pleasure of speaking with one of the single most positive people roaming this planet. Her name, Gabby Maiden. Everybody sit back, put your happy face t-shirts on, and enjoy the positivity.
How are you doing, with all this stuff that's going on?
Well, it's been an enlightening experience. These past couple months, I feel like it's really been bringing a lot of things internal for a lot of people, and which is great for conversation, great for growth. And but just speaking for me personally, this has been kind of some of the most creative moments that I've had, which has been really great. Writing wise, I've been writing a lot, especially for music and for screenplays. Just everything is I'm a very imaginative person, and I gotta you gotta let it out. Very creative. When you got those creative juices flowing, you just gotta. So it's been kind of cool to explore, how I've been processing everything and just just putting it down on paper.
Right. So,
yeah.
It kind of, necessity is the root of all invention. So because of all these feelings towards, society and societal norms up until now, you're expressing it through, writing. That's your exhaust, so to speak.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to use it. You're taking lemons, Gabby, and you're making lemonade. Darn it. Good on you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, dude. Honestly, it's sometimes the best way that I can express myself is through song or writing it down through poetry or short story. And I think it's really healthy. Mental health is so important right now. And of course, physical health as well. And it's just trying to keep everything aligned, I think, through this process and through this growth period that we're trying to all accomplish right now. I think the more that we kind of pay more attention to our inner selves, we'll be able to help everyone else around us as well, where we can really be able to connect with, whether it's with understanding, with acceptance of how, like you were saying, there's certain normalities that aren't normal anymore because people are either fed up with it or they, uncomfortable things that might have been swept under the rug that needed to be discussed. I think it's really it's been a time that I've been noticing a lot of people. I've been having a lot of interesting conversations with people, and I kind of appreciate that part of it all. Yeah.
So 2 things. One, did you call your dad and thank him for giving you the creativity gene?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm with my dad and my mom through this quarantine, and like it's kind of cool because like even before the quarantine was really happening, me and my dad were we were collaborating with music, like because I've been wanting to put this album out for years, and like I hadn't put like full attention on it. I would like share my songs with like friends every now and then like, oh, I made a new song, check it out. And then a lot of my friends would be like, hey, you should like really put this out. And I'd be like, maybe, I don't know. And so within these past few months, actually before quarantine, like my dad, like he was kind of like playing, guitar and, just kind of like getting a little bit into, or at least just like kind of helping me out with it, a little bit. So it's been kind of cool to just do like get creative together. And yeah, I don't know. I thank him for sure. And my mom, she's, she has like the business mindset. So like I learn a lot from her as well, just with kind of keeping things in order and keep it tight and keep the focus and good stuff coming for sure.
Let me tell you, being a father and like passing down my stuff to my daughters, it's probably the most rewarding thing. So all of his number 1 hit songs and everything else, I'm sure like these past few months with you, like handing his torch to you has probably just made him really, really happy. I would imagine.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I mean, dude, like I was saying before, there's like certain conversations I think amongst like a lot of different people have been coming out like where you might not have even had that conversation before at all, like into a certain in-depth thing. And the stories that my dad like been telling me too, like just talking back in the day and talking about
Shaka Khan stories. I mean, come on, let's talk about that. Like, that's you know what I'm saying? That's all time music, that's heavy. That's really heavy. Like what Sal's dad was like jazz and cool. Your dad was like partying and like doing the thing, you know what I'm saying? With, bell bottom sequence and all that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny because he was saying about how just like the amount of people that he's worked with and recorded with, like whether it was like Quincy or Stevie Wonder, or like just like a list of, like when they toured with the Rolling Stones, like I don't know, it's like was really it's cool to like hear these stories, and it's kind of surreal sometimes when like I look like at old videos and that's like all over YouTube about whether they're on tour in like on Soul Train or something. Like it's pretty dope when you can see that. You're like, like Don would be like, and here they are, Rufus and Shaka Khan, and I'd be like, there's my daddy. And he would make his own clothes too, which is pretty cool. Or like,
you're daddy's girl then, because you were part of that. You're like the Erykah Badu style, where you're coming out in like your paint snowboard gear and like, what's up?
That's actually true. Yeah, I love that you call me that now. That makes me that warms my heart so much. You have no idea. No, but it's true. Like I would make my I would like put patches, like patchwork on my pants to like have some individuality with that. It's like I'm obsessed with polka dots. And I remember one of my pair of pants. It's Nikita. They hadn't made like a slimmer fit snow pant yet at that time because they were still like working with like the sizes, and they just kind of because they were streetwear first, and then Heda started making outerwear, and I remember there's these pair of pants that had like this elastic was like on the bottom, of the pant leg. And so like, but the rest of it was like, would flare out. But for that one part would just always like stick to your boot. And I never liked it. And I was just like, cause there's like a pet peeve that I have where I have to have my pants like to go like, like when it's right at the edge of the bottom of the boot. Like it's not, it doesn't have to drag. It's just like right in that money spot. It's like right, like where it, And so what I did is I cut that one strip of the elastic out, and then I got my polka dotted fabric and I sewed it. So I made my own flare pants, and then I took in the pants to make it more slimmer fit. And then I put like a polka dot like patchwork like just somewhere else on the pant. And then that's when I would do a lot of thrift store shopping. I took this windbreaker. It was my favorite windbreaker. It was like purple and blue and like super thick. And then I got this paint, what is it, like for clothes. And I just like drew designs and yeah, like kind of like that. Yeah. And then like I drew these like swirls and, kind of made it even more 80s on it. And then, and like that was like my like style for a little bit. And then, shortly after they started, altering with the pants and then, made different, whether it was a baggier set or like a more tailored or something. But like, that was a pretty cool time where I was really like experimenting with like, when you're experimenting with your style and like being, wanting to get creative with what you're having, and that was a pretty cool moment.
Nice. So
yeah,
you were saying, you've said a few times in this conversation so far, you've had a lot of interesting conversations in the past several months. Now,
yeah,
I'm gambling that they were based on race and your experience with that.
There's definitely a bit of those talks for sure. Yeah.
And everybody knows at this point, like if you don't know what's going on, like you're not going to know, snap out of it.
Right.
But what I'd like to know from you is what have you gotten from like these conversations, and which one have you been, or which one do you think you've been most impactful in, and which one has impacted you the most out of these conversations? That makes any sense.
Like which conversations have been kind of like sparking a bit more of like, I like it. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, what's pretty cool? One of the most interesting things of group conversations I've been having, I have these two friends that actually started this kind of like really awesome group of actors, just like wanting to just do, we like, there's like a play that we would like read all together, and then we would like workshop it, and just like right when quarantine was kind of starting, and like when people, we were all a little bit, in our heads of just kind of like, what do we do? And to my homies, they just started this group, which was great. And it collaborated a lot of like homies from all over the world that we actually, either some had never met before. A lot of them I just met, but like maybe like one or two, like I already knew, or we met randomly before all of this. And it's like we're all just kind of like, we'd be meeting up and we'd be doing this like, once a week, and then it wound up being twice a week, and every time like we'd be done like workshopping like whatever we were doing, whatever scenes or whatever, or maybe some improv, or just we would always never stop talking to each other. Like it would go on, and these are like, people are out in London or people in Germany or whatever. Like it's just all over, and I'm in the States, and but yet, like, we wind up having these conversations about just everything, and it's awesome because I never, we didn't expect or think that something like this would happen, but I think it's really great when you get grouped up with like people with all different mindsets, but yet we all have like a linking of, of energy to creativity in this sense, and open-mindedness of being able to just talk about our true feelings, and then also learning about different playwrights, different people that we never would even had thought to work on because maybe we didn't do separate plays before. I don't know. It's just that has been, I think, the most enlightening and most awesome thing that I've really liked, which has been collaborated, where it's just, I think it's nice to put together like a fun, safe space to just be creative and to open up that door to talk and to learn and to grow. And my two friends, they put this together, and we've been still doing it. Like, it's been great. It's like we would be talking for hours, and just like it's after we would be done doing our scenes. And anyways, it's just I'm really thankful for it. And we would even talk about like, oh man, when we get out of this, we're all going to take a trip together. It's going to be sick. We're going to meet each other for the first time in person, and just growing like actual like kind of true relationships, which is great.
What like the people from Europe and Scandinavia or UK or wherever they were, like, what were they? Obviously, like, I have a lot of friends over there, and some of my best friends are there, and they're like when they saw stuff, they were asking me like, what is, and they still are, because people are going crazy, and people aren't, the government's going a little crazy in Portland right now. People are too, but like, so what were they? Were you like their first? Were you like their boots on the ground in the states known as America? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Well, that's what was also kind of interesting as well, because you're talking to people that are from different parts of the world in this one little, group chat, video chat, and like when it was all kind of like beginning with the quarantine, it was very interesting to hear how everything was going in the different areas of the world. Some places weren't having it as much of an effect as being in the U.S., dealing with cases, and also obvious the different racial injustices that's been just piling on, which has been horrifying. But like, it's, and that's another thing that makes it kind of surreal, where it's just there's different countries that are like things just never altered. Like, they're kind of still like just chilling, and there hasn't been many cases of anything, and with the COVID, and just it's, I don't know, it's just it kind of sometimes feels like, I don't know, do you feel like you're in a movie sometimes? It's like, I don't know what's happening, and it's just kind of like it's kind of like I've been meditating so much, man. It's been helping a lot, but it's just, I think it's really good to we have to reground ourselves within ourselves.
Yeah. So like, I remember when your first big recent TV thing came out, I was like, oh my God, yay, Gabby. How was the snowboard industry to you in that? Like, was it like, were you excited that they were excited, or were you kind of like, oh, bandwagon, or were you, indifferent?
It's interesting, because when I had my kind of like, I took like this other, like, snowboarding was like my self-exploration from like when I was a kid, and I went, and moved up to Big Bear, and I was snowboarding and wanted to do, just kind of more seriously through competition. And that was a detour I was already taking through, wanting to be an actor. And then, so that was kind of like my self-exploration time, right? And then I took another self-exploration after, snowboarding for those many years professionally, which were the best years of my life. And then I wanted to explore, being out of the country. And that's when I spent more time in Iceland. And then my friends were like, what are you doing in Iceland? And I was like, it's amazing, because, Nikita, you know, at the time, like, that's like my second family, and it was just the best. And it was the best years of my life at that moment. And then I was like, dude, I want to go back into my acting world and my, you know, be back with my family. I did my other self-exploration back again. And then the good thing is that, of course, like, the snow industry is going to, you know, that also is like a sisterhood and a brotherhood that, like, will always kind of be there as well. Like, you know, because it's been a part of me for so long. But it was interesting when there's, like, certain aspects, you know, sometimes if you don't feel seen in a certain way by a certain person or a certain group, it's interesting when after the show came out and after, you know, everyone had seen it, and then the uproar and uprising of support, which I'm so, like, grateful for, because, like, I didn't want to feel like I, like, left snowboarding, because I didn't. I mean, it was, you know, it was bittersweet, you know, because it kind of was like at some degree I was, like, super, like, wow, that's so cool, like, they see me, like, this is so awesome, and they're stoked for me. And then there's some moments where I was like, I wish you kind of saw me when I was snowboarding in the same capacity, and want to, like, you know, kind of put a side of an attention to me in the way of what you're doing with me now, then, you know. So it's kind of, it's interesting. It's, I know who I am, and I know what I can do, and I'm proud of the journey that I'm having thus far. And, you know, and of course, like, I'm just thankful for just people, you know, the world of snow, to be supporting me like they've been supporting me all this time. But yeah, there's moments within that period that was kind of overwhelming, where I was like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like,
no, it fully does.
Yeah,
it fully makes sense.
Yeah,
it's very normal, I believe, what you felt, Gabby.
Yeah,
because, I mean, you did it, and then all of a sudden you were done with it, and then you did something on a scheme bigger than snowboarding, and so snowboarding maybe they were just celebrating you. You know, who knows? Definitely, and it, I don't know, it was interesting, and it's kind of weird. Like, I can't put it into words. Like, that's how bizarre I think it is. Because within, like, I mean, you know, like, just being, you know, a Black person in snowboarding is already something of a different thing. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's making any sense whatsoever. No, it does. So I'll just stop talking. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the future, and not just the future for you, but the future for the country, for the world. Like, where do you hope that stuff ends up? What are your every time I say fears, but it's not fears. What are your concerns? That's the word I want to use. And where do you hope it goes, really? I mean, well, I just hope that people can kind of, I mean, in a perfect world, would just get on the same page, just get on the same boat for a second, or at least, like, just seeing things in more of a less. It's just, there's so much anger that's circulating that it would be amazing if people can kind of just see the light more than that there always has to be a dark. You know, the universe, I think, is here for us to help us, to grow with us. It's not really supposed to be, I don't think, out here to, you know, just create chaos. Like, I feel like when there's misguided hearts, you know, what they mostly need is just, you know, they just need to have some sort of, I don't know if it's love or if it's some sort of just, you know, kind of, like, it's hard to try to get someone to understand compassion and love and attention when they're not looking within themselves to know that, you know, like that saying, it's like, if you're giving love, you're going to receive it, right? So if there's going to be constant, you know, friction,
how can there be any room for receiving love or giving if there's, you know what I mean? So I would love in the future if the friction can just settle. People can just relax. Everyone just kind of just understand that we're all trying to just live and trying to enjoy our lives, you know, together would be wonderful. And I would just, I'm such a person about communication, and I truly believe it's like when communication is just not there, it's just that's when things get lost. So I would love when just like, I love that the talking is like happening more and more. So I would hope that for the future that the conversations just keep happening, and then we can kind of get to a place where, we can just get on a level. I feel like there's like some people are on like a little bit of different levels. Like we just kind of got to get back on kind of like a, you know, not let the boat keep a rocking. Like let's just sail smoothly for a bit. I would
just sail smoothly for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
Hopefully for a long bit, but
long bit. I want the long bit, but for right now, just that a little bit sounds great too. But it's just, that would be great. I hope, man.
I hope too.
We got this. It's gonna work out.
It is. Well, Gabby, thank you for your endless
Russell.
Positivity. Because
I try, man.
And I think we can end it with let's let this ship sail smoothly. I think
Please.
That's
I think so,
Please and thank you.
Yeah, please and thank you. Let it ride.
Awesome.
Yeah,
all right, Gabby. Thank you.
Yeah,
and
man.
enjoy the rest of your evening.
You. Most definitely.
Okay.
All right,
bye.
dude. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah.